Everybody, this is the December 14th, 2021, the Rensselaer County Legislature regular monthly meeting. We have two public hearings tonight, and then we'll get on to some presentations, and then we'll go through the agenda items, which is pretty heavy. First of all, the legislature is now called to order. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Mr. Bailey? Here. Mr. Bendet? Here. Mr. Burns? Mr. Casal? Here. Ms. Doran? Present. Mr. Fiacco? Here. Mr. Fleming? Here. Mr. Grant? Present. Mr. Grimm? Here. Mr. Harrington? Present. Ms. Hoffman? Here. Mr. Leverage? Here. Mr. Patiri? Here. Mr. Peter? Here. Mr. Tessman? Here. Ms. Sullivan Tita? Ms. Weaver? Here. Mr. Wysocki? Here. Chairman Stammel?
Here.
There are 17 present and 2 absent.
Mr. Harrington, please.
Mr. Chairman, I move that the legislature resolve itself into a committee of the whole for the purpose of conducting a public hearing.
Okay, hearing no objections. Hearing no objection, I hereby appoint legislator Charles Peter, chairman of the Farmland Protection Board, to conduct a public hearing. Charles, will you please come up and bring your committee with you, please, Chuck? If they want to. You have.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The clerk will read the notice of public hearing and enter the affidavits of publication into the record.
Which one do you want to do first?
District 1.
Notice of public hearing, Agricultural District Number 1, Berlin, Hoosick, Nassau, Petersburg, and Steventown, 8-year review. Notice is hereby given that a public hearing will be held in the county legislature of the county of Rensselaer at the Legislative Chamber, 1600 7th Ave in the city of Troy, New York, on the 14th day of December at 5:30 p.m. upon the Berlin, Hoosick, Nassau, Petersburg, and Steventown Agricultural District, known as Agricultural District Number 1, to consider the recommendations of the Planning Department and Agriculture and Farmland Protection Board and any proposed modifications of the district. A description of the map of the district within the proposed modifications may be examined during the business hours at the office of the Rensselaer County Planning Department, located at the County Office Building, 1600 7th Ave in the city of Troy, New York, and is the joint recommendations of the Planning and Agricultural Board and the Farmland Protection Board that the said district be continued subject to the proposed modifications for an 8-year period, the period of 8 years.
The public hearing to consider a proposal by the Rensselaer County Legislature to accept modifications to Agricultural District Number 1 is now open. First, anyone wishing to speak at this public hearing must sign in at the desk at the entrance to the legislative chambers. When you are called upon to speak, please move to the microphone and state your name and address. Are there any questions? At this time, is there anyone wishing to speak about this proposal and on, are both of you here to speak about District 1 or about the second hearing, I believe? Second hearing. So I'll ask again, is there anyone else desiring to speak on this proposal? Final time, is there anyone else desiring to speak on this proposal? Hearing none, and as much as the persons present were given the opportunity to speak for and against the proposed modifications, and no one else desires to speak, I declare this public hearing closed at 5:49 p.m. With that, we will open the public hearing for the inclusion, I'll just read the statement here. The second public hearing, will the clerk read the public hearing, the notice of public hearing, and enter the affidavits of publication into the record?
Please take notice that in accordance with Article 25-AA, Section 303B3 of the State of New York Agriculture and Markets Law, a public hearing will be held in the chambers of the Rensselaer County Legislature located at the County Office Building, 1600 7th Ave, Troy, New York, on Tuesday, December 14, 2021, at 5:30 p.m. to consider the following requests for inclusion. Agricultural District Number 1, Berlin, Hoosick, Nassau, Petersburg, and Steventown, Ostrander, and Rena property. Agricultural District Number 2, Scotticook, Pittstown, Brunswick, Poston Kill, North Greenbush, East Greenbush, Sand Lake, the Nazarian Peloton, Kelton Properties, Agricultural District Number 5, Pittstown and Scotticoke, the Davis property.
This public hearing is to consider requests for inclusions that were received during the yearly open enrollment period, September 1st through September 30th, is now open. The rules of the chair are as follows. First, anyone wishing to speak at this public hearing must sign in at the desk at the entrance to the legislative chambers. When you are called upon to speak, please move to the microphone and state your name and address. Are there any questions? At this time, I'll call Catherine Davis to speak.
My name is Catherine Davis. My address is 1229 River Road, Troy, New York, 12182. I'm a resident of the town of Scotticoke. It has come to my attention this morning that a last-minute resolution rejecting the proposed inclusion of my property in the county agricultural district was put forth. I was not informed of this, but I did see it on tonight's meeting agenda. I would like to ask you to vote against this resolution and support the resolution including my property in the agricultural district. The reason listed in the resolution is unresolved issues with the town. I believe this is in reference to one complaint by an unknown neighbor about my barking dog. While the town does have an ordinance against unreasonable noise created by dogs, I don't believe this applies in my case. My dog is a livestock guardian dog for my flock of sheep. She barks only when there's an animal or an intruder on my property. In addition, my property is in an area zoned for agricultural usage, and the town itself has a right to farm life law, which states it is resolved by the town board of the town of Scotticoke that no person, entity, association, partnership, or corporation shall engage in any act to prevent or deter such conduct as it is approved herein. I've cooperated with the town and explained to them that my dog is a necessary part of my farming operation. The use of livestock guardian dogs is a widespread and commonly used farming practice to protect animals such as sheep and goats. In addition to predators such as foxes and coyotes, my dog protects my sheep from theft because I've had animals stolen from my property in the past. This is not only detrimental as a business matter, but it is deeply upsetting personally as I care about the well-being of my animals very much. One of the goals included in the Rensselaer County Agricultural and Farmland Protection Plan is to promote agriculture as a vital aspect of Rensselaer County's economic and community life, to increase broad-based community support for the county's farms and farmers. I would ask you to keep that goal in mind when you vote tonight. If anyone has any questions or would like further information, I'd be happy to answer you. Thank you all for your time tonight.
Thank you. With that, Joe Johnson, would you like to come down and speak?
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Joe Johnson. I live at 28 Hogney Road, Troy, New York. It's been about 24 months of this new development of a sheep farm, I guess you would call it. And I've been quite understanding that, all for business, and I think it's a good thing. But, I approached the town. I said, listen, in the spring or fall, there's a lot of things that go on, and this animal, this protector, would continue to bark. I've done numerous kinds of research. I've tried to reach out to Humane Society. I've tried to reach out to the town, discuss what the options can be to live cordially. I think what Ms. Davis fails to mention is that her property is on the river. This property is not conjoining with her property, so they're in two separate facilities. Although they're in the same proximity, they're definitely not attached. So it's on, it's kind of a little hard to hear that animal when it is barking for attention. There's definitely, I've reached out to the Humane Society, I've asked them some questions about the Great Pyrenees, I've tried to learn the role of sheep farming, even though it's nothing I ever intended on doing. When I did do that, they said the Great Pyrenees will bark if it is untrained or if it is in need of medical attention. That dog, if I went outside right now, I guarantee you it's gonna bark. It's barking right now. You know, and I'm here on behalf of several neighbors that will probably never come to this microphone and speak. But, you know, I'm the last one to complain. I know you guys have heard some of the things I've said. I just want to put a face with the name, and I don't want to be behind an email as just a guy who's putting out recordings. So I have tried to work with the town. I believe that from what I've received from the town, Ms. Davis was unresponsive to code enforcement. She's been unresponsive to a few other things that they've asked her to do. These animals have gotten out in the past. Sheriffs have been knocking on doors, looking for the owners. There's even posts on local Pleasantdale sites looking to speak with her, try to help her. So I've tried to do my due diligence as far as just keeping this at the town level, hoping we can reconcile this farm and we can get along together. But I do believe that the dog is just not properly trained to be a working dog, and it just, in fact, has been throwing to the sheep here and left in the, you know, on a separate parcel that is not attached to her land. And I feel like that is probably the major issue here on why we can't, you know, come to a reconciliation and take care of this dog. So with that, if anybody has any questions, I don't know. So I appreciate all your time tonight, and I really didn't even expect it ever to get to this level. So, you know, anything you guys can do, I'm asking you to certainly help us up here on Hogney Hill. All for her to have the right to farm, but I don't think that this particular instance with a working animal that is untrained is going to suffice the neighborhood. So, thank you for your time.
Thank you. Those are all who signed up. Is there anyone else desiring to speak on this proposal? Is there anyone else desiring to speak on this proposal? And last time, is there anyone else desiring to speak on this proposal? Hearing none, and as much as all persons present were given the opportunity to speak for and against these requests for inclusion, and no one else desires to speak, I declare this public hearing closed at 6:03 p.m. Thank you for your participation.